The dog blocked the doorway. The mother called it aggression. She had no idea it was the opposite. Fiona Beckett had spent 14 years as a child psychologist. She understood how children communicated distress. She understood the behavioral signals that adults missed, the small articulations of a child's body and voice that carried information before language was available to carry it. She had built a practice around that understanding. She had never once applied that expertise to her dog. She was about to learn why she should have. Their Rottweiler, Bram, was 5 years old, 105 pounds, black and mahogany, with the deep-chested solidity of a working breed and the specific gentleness that people are always surprised to find in Rottweilers. He had been Fiona's dog for 3 years before their daughter Cora arrived. He had been present for Cora's arrival home, had completed his inventory of the car seat, and had taken his position as guardian with the completeness that Fiona had found for the first 2 years reassuring. Cora was 27 months old when it started. She had been running a mild cold for 4 days, 99.8 on the thermometer. Some congestion, nothing that crossed any threshold Fiona knew to worry about. By Friday, she seemed improved, more energy, eating dinner. Fiona put her to bed, feeling that the worst of it had passed. At 8:30 p.m., Cora woke up and wanted water. Standard. Fiona brought it, resettled her, went back to the living room. Bram, who had been lying in the hallway outside Cora's room, was still there when she passed. At 9:15, Cora was awake again, crying, not distressed, just awake and unhappy about it. Fiona went down the hall. Bram was in the doorway, physically in the doorway. When Fiona tried to step past him to go in, he did not move. She said his name. He looked at her. He did not move. She put her hand on his collar and pulled gently. He leaned into it, not growling, not stiff, not displaying any of the signs she associated with reactive behavior, just not moving. His weight was fully committed to the doorway. She pushed harder. He did not yield. Her husband, Colin, came from the bedroom at the sound of raised voices. Fiona's voice and Cora's crying and Bram making no sound at all, just existing as a wall in a doorway. Colin was larger than the dog. He took Bram by the collar and moved him physically into the hallway. Bram turned and went directly back to the doorway. He sat in it. Colin said what Fiona was already thinking. He's never done this before. Something's wrong with him. She called her vet the next morning. She described the blocking behavior. The vet said, "Some dogs exhibit doorway guarding as territorial behavior. If it's new onset, watch for patterns. Separate him from a child's space if you're concerned. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one." They put Bram in the downstairs hallway that night. He sat at the bottom of the stairs for 3 hours before Fiona heard him finally stop moving. Cora woke at 2:19 a.m., making a sound Fiona recognized in the half-second between hearing it and being awake. A high, thin, crowing sound on the inhalation that she had heard described in a parent handout she had once distributed at a school information night. The sound of croup. She was in Cora's room with the light on before the exhale. The sound Cora was making was audible across the room. Stridor, the inspiratory wheeze of a narrowing airway. Not severe, but not mild. She called the pediatrician emergency line. The doctor said, "Bring her in." At the urgent care clinic, Dr. Marisol Olev examined Cora and confirmed moderate croup with significant stridor. She administered racemic epinephrine by nebulizer and observed for 2 hours. Cora's airway responded. They went home at 5 a.m. Has your dog ever done something you couldn't explain until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. In the car, Cora asleep against her shoulder, Fiona sat with a thought she could not get past. The stridor had been audible. She had recognized it from a handout. She had been 2 floors away with a closed door between her and the hallway. Bram had been in the hallway, outside the door, for 2 nights. Dr. Olav, when Fiona called to describe the dog's behavior, said, "Croup in its early stages produces a very specific inspiratory sound, particularly during sleep, when the stridor is more pronounced and the child is horizontal. A dog in the hallway outside the bedroom would have been hearing that sound. A dog's hearing range is 4 times what ours is in the upper frequencies. He would have been hearing the stridor before you could hear it through a closed door. She paused. He was not blocking the doorway. He was sitting at the point where the sound he was responding to was loudest. He was positioned between the source of the alarm and everyone else in the house. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Fiona brought Cora home that morning. She opened the downstairs hallway where Bram had spent the night, and he walked up the stairs without pausing and went directly to Cora's room and stood at the doorway. He looked at Fiona. He looked at Cora. He went inside and lay down on the rug beside the bed. Fiona sat down in the hallway with her back against the wall. She had 14 years of professional experience reading what children communicated before language could carry it. She had built a practice around that skill. She had looked at everything Bram communicated for 2 nights and read every word of it wrong. He had been positioned at the exact point of maximum acoustic information, and she had moved him twice because she had decided she understood the room better than he did. She did not go back to sleep. She sat in the hallway while Bram lay on the rug inside, and Cora breathed, the sound of it clear and even now, the wheeze gone, the alarm over. She stayed until the light came through the window at the end of the hall. It seemed like the right thing to do.